What's up everybody, this is Ven bringing you another mock spotlight where we take apart what you build, and for today's episode we'll be taking a look at Tahnok, Fire Burrower, created and posted to our message boards by LoganMcOwen. And now before we get started, let me remind you of my method of reviewing, which involves a point system that is based on 3 fundamental attributes: the overall appearance of the mock, the build of the mock itself, and the concept and ideas behind the mock's creation. Each quality will mount up to 10 points, leading up to a final score that will be determined at the end of the episode. And please remember that this is all based on my opinion. So let's get this started. Man, this little guy looks pretty freaking sweet. Like, honestly, the first thing I thought to myself once I saw this thing was, I want one. Heck, I might even try to build one myself after this recording. Cause man, it just looks really nice. It's got a solid, cohesive design, consistency in texture and color. It looks unique, and it's pretty well built. Like, this is such a clever use of this eggshell piece you see here. Like, I never would have thought of using those as, like, part of a head. But don't get me wrong, this mock does also have its share of imperfections. Like, if you take a look at the back of the mock, it doesn't really look so pretty anymore. Like, it just looks so bare. It lacks a back. And I mean, come on, something could have been added to this open axle hole here. I mean, look at that. That really bothers me. And then there's these shell pieces being used on the hands here to kind of act like shields, calling back to the original Burrower design. And that's a cool idea and all, but it doesn't really look all too good to me. I don't know, it seems a bit off. Seems very oddly bulky yet flat at the same time. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just the shell piece that's used here. I probably would have went with some other, maybe a smaller shell piece with some sort of attachment on it, so then it would look more full and not like a big folded piece of paper. I do like the claws. The claws are a pretty cool touch, but I just think this whole thing going on here with the forearms could be improved. Now, some of you are probably wondering, what the heck is up with the big gray thing sticking out of this guy's back? Well, let me tell you. This guy's got a great build, and honestly, the thing that makes this build so great is the built-in function it has going on. Like, this big gray thing that sticks out awkwardly is part of that function, in which you press down on it, and here, look at the picture. The thing lunges its whole head forward, and of course, once you let go, snaps right back into place. And that's amazing. And it's also pretty well covered up. Like, I never would have guessed that this thing had a build if it wasn't for the big freaking gray thing sticking out of the back. Aside from that, the mock is also just overall a really well built figure. It's got all the standard points of articulation except for, you know, some limited head movement due to the function. But you can still bend his elbows, knees, feet and all. It's still really cool. Of course, the claws, can't forget about the claws. And all in all, making this a big improvement in design compared to the original Burrower, which of course is what this mock is entirely based on. I mean, in case it wasn't obvious or you're not really familiar with Bionicle, I mean, sure, the two designs differ in several ways, such as build and texture, and the fact that the new one can't transform into a ball, which is a bit of a shame, but oh well. Because aside from all that, I'd actually say that the mock improves on the original design of the Burrower while also retaining the same general look and concept. However, I do see some form of improvement that could further emphasize on that, such as the really bare back. Like, if you look at the old Burrower, they look almost entirely whole, not really gappy or empty like the mock. And then another thing I noticed is that the mock doesn't really carry any sort of elemental characteristics. Like, aside from the color, you wouldn't really be able to tell that this Burrower was supposed to represent fire. Like, for instance, the old version of Tahnok had these, like, flame details on his shields. New Tahnok here has shredder claw. And then, of course, the shape of the mock is completely different. Like, it's not really round like the old Burrower. So, in all of these aspects, the mock kind of loses a good bit of the Burrower charm, but just a bit. Because that aside, it's still a really good mock, and I would still say that it's a successful translation of the old greebly Bionicle design into the new shiny smooth CCBS system that we have today. And that's pretty much all I gotta say on that. So let's go ahead and wrap things up, go over the final scores, and yeah. So, in terms of appearance, this mock receives a 7 out of 10. Overall, I really do enjoy this design, and I am being completely honest when I say I'll probably try building one of these myself. Maybe making my own improvements as I see fit, because I do see some things that could be improved on. I mean, like that back is just, what happened. But I still really like it, so hey, you know, cookies for you. In terms of the build, this M.O.C receives a 9 out of 10. It's pretty simple, sure, but it's still a really well-built figure with a good bit of coverage thanks to all the armor, and man, that function is like God's work. I mean, it does look a little weird to have the trigger sticking out of the back, but I mean, hey, the original Burrower kinda had the same problem too, so whatever. And in terms of the concept, this M.O.C receives another 7 out of 10. As a playable action figure that can pose and whatnot, this M.O.C definitely improves a lot on the original design of the Burrower. However, it does lose a bit of character, and all in all, the design could be improved on a good bit, and that's why I decided to take a few points off for that. And now with all that said, we are left with a final score that all adds up to a 23 out of 30. So great job to you, LoganMcOwen. Congrats for making it onto the M.O.C Spotlight again. I hope to see more out of you. And same for all of you viewers. Please, if you haven't considered already, post to our message boards at board.ttvchannel.com and check out the LEGO Creations category, where you are free to post your own LEGO creations for a high possibility of becoming featured on the M.O.C Spotlight sometime in the future. So until then, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next time.